The masks we wear every day. We witness a grand performance. People around us play their roles, hiding true feelings behind carefully crafted masks. Carl Gustav Jung, the pioneering psychologist, once said, "A person without a mask is rare, but a person without a shadow is impossible." These masks, or what Jung called personas, are facades we build to meet society's expectations, but behind them lies the shadow, the parts of our soul we hide even from ourselves. What if you could see behind these masks? What if you learned to spot another's shadow, their fears, insecurities, hidden motives? In this journey inspired by Jungian psychology, we'll uncover 6 powerful techniques to read people like open books. These aren't just skills. They're an art of observation, like a lantern in the dark illuminating truth. We'll show you how to recognize the shadow in words, gestures, and actions, understand people's motives, and grow toward wholeness by helping others. Ready to tear off the veil of illusions and see the world as it truly is? Let's begin. Technique 1. Tell me more. The key to another's soul. The power of listening. A person longs to be heard more than to be right, Jung once observed. In a world where everyone rushes to speak, the ability to listen becomes a rare superpower. Imagine this: you're in a business meeting, and a colleague passionately shares an idea, but their words carry tension. Instead of arguing or interrupting, you calmly say 3 words, "Tell me more," and magic happens. They relax, their social facade begins to melt, and truth emerges. This technique is simple, but its effect is staggering. When you sincerely invite someone to speak without judgment or agendas, they feel safe, their defenses crumble, and they share far more than they intended: fears, doubts, even their shadow. It's like unlocking a hidden room in their soul. Martha's story, from mask to truth. Take Martha, a 70-year-old widow who seemed the picture of calm. At her gardening club meetings, she always smiled, but her eyes betrayed anxiety. One day, a friend inspired by Jungian wisdom said, "Martha, tell me more about your garden." Instead of roses, Martha suddenly spoke of her grief for her late husband and her fear of loneliness, her shadow. Those 3 words created a space where she could finally be herself. How to use it? Try this today in a conversation with a colleague, friend, or even a stranger. When you sense tension, say, "Tell me more." Listen closely without interrupting. Notice how they open up, how their persona fades to reveal their shadow. Remember, this isn't manipulation, it's a gift. You help them feel heard, while gaining insight into their true motives. As Jung said, when two personalities meet, it's like the contact of 2 chemicals. If there's a reaction, both are transformed. Technique 2. How someone treats the little people. The shadow and how we treat the weak. Jung warned, the shadow appears where we feel superior. Want to know someone's true character? Watch how they treat those they deem below them: waiters, janitors, junior colleagues. These moments act like mirrors, revealing whether they've integrated their shadow or still hide arrogance. Behind a mask of virtue, a person might be polite to you to make an impression, but the moment they decide someone is unimportant, their shadow bursts out. A dismissive tone, a harsh gesture, a cold stare. These aren't accidents. They're signs of inner disharmony. John's story, the mask of kindness. John, a 68-year-old retired teacher, was the life of his chess club. Everyone saw him as a sweetheart, until he snapped at a young waiter for spilling coffee. "Can't you do anything right?" he hissed, his face twisted with irritation. That moment exposed his kindness as a persona, his shadow, arrogance, lurking beneath later. John admitted he'd been humiliated often in his youth and now unconsciously took it out on those he saw as weaker. Life advice: observe how people treat those who can't fight back. It reveals their core. But don't stop there. Look inward. How do you treat the little people? Strive for fairness and kindness to all. As Jung said, the shadow isn't an enemy, but a teacher if we dare to face it. Be someone who respects everyone, and you'll move closer to wholeness. Technique 3. The past, a map of the soul. The shadow hidden in memories. We don't just live in the present, we carry our past with us. Jung wrote, to understand someone, look into their history. The past isn't just a series of events. It's a living force shaping their shadow. complexes, and behavior. Traumas, victories, losses, all leave marks that show up in their words, reactions, even silences. A person who's always guarded may have survived betrayal. Someone craving praise might have grown up unseen. These echoes of the past are keys to their shadow. Understanding them doesn't excuse behavior. It reveals motives hidden behind the persona. Alice's story, echoes of childhood. Alice, a 72-year-old artist, seemed cold and distant. Colleagues called her arrogant until she shared at an exhibition how her childhood drawings were mocked. That trauma shaped her shadow, a fear of vulnerability. Once friends understood her past, they softened, helping her open up. Alice began sharing her art, and her life bloomed with new colors. How to use this: when talking to someone, ask about their past. What inspired you to do this work? Or what moments shaped who you are? Listen closely. Their answers will reveal how the past influences their shadow. But don't forget yourself. Which of your reactions trace back to childhood? Jung taught, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life. Reflect on your own history to better understand your shadow and move toward wholeness. Technique 4. The voice that betrays the shadow. The melody of truth. The voice is a mirror of the soul, and as Jung said, truth often hides in what we can't control. When someone lies, hides emotions, or battles inner conflict, their voice reveals their shadow. Sudden shifts in tone, trembling, awkward pauses, or forced cheerfulness. These are all signs that their persona is cracking. These changes are often unconscious. A person might carefully choose their words, but their voice tells the truth. It's like a crack in the mask, exposing the shadow beneath. Tom's story lies in the tone. Tom, a 65-year-old manager, was always confident in his speeches, but during a meeting about a failed project, his voice suddenly grew quieter, stumbling over words. A colleague familiar with Jungian psychology noticed this and asked, "Tom, tell me more." Tom confessed he'd hidden a mistake, fearing judgment. His voice had betrayed his shadow. A fear of failure. Practice observation. In your next conversation, pay attention to the other person's voice. Notice an awkward pause or shift in tone. Ask yourself, what are they hiding? It might not be a lie, but a struggle with their shadow, insecurity, fear, guilt. Don't judge, observe with wisdom, and watch your own voice, too. It can reveal your shadow. Strive for harmony between words and feelings. As Jung advised, individuation is the path to wholeness, where the soul's voice rings clear. Technique 5. Truth in solitude. When the mask falls, a person alone is a person without a mask. Jung said, to see someone's true essence, observe them when they think no one's watching. In these moments, their persona fades and their shadow steps into the light. It's like glimpsing their soul unfiltered. A colleague polite in public might snap at a subordinate once the boss leaves. A partner charming on dates might show irritation when they think you're not looking. These flashes reveal the truth behind the mask. Anna's story, two sides. Anna, a 69-year-old neighbor, was always warm at community meetings. But one day, she was overheard berating a janitor for a minor mistake when she thought she was alone. This exposed her shadow, intolerance masked by her persona of kindness. Later, Anna admitted her harshness echoed her upbringing, where mistakes were unforgivable. How to use this? Pay attention to unscripted moments. How does someone act in traffic, waiting in line, or alone? These details reveal their shadow. But ask yourself, who are you when no one's watching? Live by your values. As Jung taught, true character doesn't need applause. That's the path to wholeness. Technique 6. Emotions. The mirror of values. The shadow in the heart. Emotions are the soul's language, Jung said. To understand what truly matters to someone, watch their reactions. Anger, joy, anxiety. These are windows into their shadow and true self. Strong emotions signal something significant is at stake. A core value of fear, or an unhealed wound. A colleague who explodes over criticism might tie their self-worth to perfection. A friend who lights up talking about travel likely craves freedom. These reactions are maps to their inner world. Edward's story, anger as a clue. Edward, a 71-year-old veteran, was usually calm, but one day, He snapped when his son was late for dinner. Later, he admitted punctuality symbolized respect, something he'd lacked in youth. His anger was his shadow, rooted in the past. Understanding this brought him closer to his son. Wisdom. In practice, notice others' emotions. What sparks their joy, rage, or worry? It'll point to their values and shadow, but turn inward. 2. Which your reactions reveal your shadow. Jung taught, understanding your shadow is the first step to wisdom. Use emotions as a compass to navigate others' hearts and your own. Walking the path to wholeness. The path to wholeness. Life is a theater where everyone wears a mask, but the wise see the shadow behind it. Jungian psychology teaches us to observe, listen, and understand without losing ourselves. These 6 techniques aren't just tools to read others, they're steps toward your own wholeness. As Jung said, your shadow isn't an enemy, it's a guide to your true self. Try these techniques today. Say, "Tell me more" in a conversation. Notice how someone treats a waiter. Listen to shifts in their voice. Ask about their past. Watch them when they think they're alone. Track their emotions. You'll be amazed how the world sharpens and connections deepen. But remember, seeing others' shadows teaches you to accept your own. Be kind to yourself and the world. Seek harmony, and the path of individuation will lead you to real power. Share in the comments. Which technique will you try? What shadows have you noticed in yourself or others? Let's inspire each other on the journey to wholeness.